Unit 5, Vocabulary, Exercise 2, Listen and Repeat.
Advert. Cartoon. Chat show. Comedy. Documentary. Drama. Film. Game show. Reality show. Soap. Sports program. The news.
Unit 5, Vocabulary, Exercise 2, Listen and Repeat.
Advert. Cartoon. Chat show. Comedy. Documentary. Drama. Film. Game show. Reality show. Soap. Sports program. The news.
Unit 5, Vocabulary, Exercise 8. 1.
Oh, I love watching this programme. You learn so much about nature, about animals and plants and everything. It's so informative.
2.
Did you see last night's episode? It really made me laugh. You know when you suddenly remembered that the characters aren't real, they're just drawings. It's incredible that they can be so realistic and so funny.
3.
Wow! Come and watch. It's really exciting. It's 2-2 and there's only 2 minutes of extra time left. Who do you think's going to win?
4.
Tonight, the presenter is interviewing Angelina Jolie. I want to watch because she's always got a lot of interesting things to say. And that presenter doesn't just ask the typical boring questions that other people ask.
5.
Did you watch it last night? The prize was £10,000. The contestant just had one more question to answer. It was really easy. Even I knew the answer. But you know what? She got it completely wrong and lost everything.
Unit 5, Grammar in Context. Exercise 2A, Pronunciation. A. Films are longer than game shows. B. Books are more interesting than films. C. This program was better than that one. D. Soaps are more popular than reading. Unit 5. Click on to TV Heroes. Exercise 8.
And finally, our choice for Film of the Week is the new Robin Hood film directed by Ridley Scott. The film is yet another version of the legend of Robin Hood, the hero of Sherwood Forest, and we've invited film critic David Johnson to tell us a bit about it. David, first of all, why do you think the story of Robin Hood is still so popular in films and on TV?
Well, it certainly is popular, isn't it? There have been at least 5 or 6 different TV series about Robin Hood and more than 20 films. It's a story that people have enjoyed for hundreds of years, and it never seems to lose its popularity.
Is it just because there's lots of action and adventure in the stories?
Well, yes, that's one reason. But I think people just love the idea of stealing from the rich and giving to the poor, don't they? I mean, basically, Robin Hood is a criminal, isn't he? He goes against the law, but we want him to win because he's a noble outlaw. He defends poor people, sick people, normal people who just need a hero. It's really interesting that many countries have similar heroes in their cultures. There's a Mexican Robin Hood, an Australian Robin Hood, and there's also a Chinese Robin Hood. So I think people like the idea of a good outlaw.
What about this new film version?
Well, as I said, there have been lots of different TV series and films, so people want to see the old, traditional Robin Hood, but they want to see something different too. One of the biggest differences in the most recent films and series, including this new film, is Maid Marian. In the old versions of the story, she was always the typical heroine who didn't do very much. Robin always had to save her, rescue her, or do things to win her love. But she was just a pretty princess, essentially. More recently, Marian has become much stronger, much more independent. Now she's intelligent. She can fight, she's brave, she's a good archer. So, often, in new versions of the story, it's Marian who saves Robin, not Robin saving Marian. And I think that's a very positive change.
And what about Robin in this new film?
Well, in this version, Robin is played by Australian actor Russell Crowe. He portrays Robin as a warrior, a real tough guy. The director has chosen to concentrate on telling the story of how Robin becomes an outlaw, how he was abandoned as a child, finally finds a sense of community with the people of Nottingham, and how difficult it is for him to find love. Until he meets Maid Marian. But listen, I'm not going to say any more. You'll have to watch the film yourselves.
I can't wait.
Unit 5. Listening, Exercise 2.
Good morning. I'm Scott Wilson, and the topic of our phone-in today is, how do you like to find out the news? Do you prefer to watch it on TV? Or maybe you read all about it in the newspaper. Perhaps you read news magazines. Or are you the kind of person who catches up with all the latest news on the internet? Maybe, just maybe, you listen to your friendly local radio station. Whatever the answer, our phone lines are now open. And yes, I think we have our first caller. Hi there. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hi, Scott. I'm Amanda and I'm calling from Cambridge.
Hi, Amanda. So, how do you keep up with the news?
I prefer the TV, really. I mean, I know I shouldn't say this because we're on the radio, but I just think the news on the radio isn't as interesting as on the TV. Just because, well, you know, you can't see what's happening. It's less dramatic on the radio, I think. A picture tells 1,000 words, don't they say?
OK, thanks, Amanda. Our next caller is...
Oh, is it me? Sorry, I'm Jerry. Morning, Scott.
And a very good morning to you, Jerry. Where are you calling from?
Sunny Stockport.
OK, and how do you find out what's going on in the world, Jerry?
Well, maybe I'm old-fashioned, but I really like the radio, and I'm not just saying that, honestly. The thing is, on TV, they're too interested in sensationalism these days. TV news isn't serious enough for me. It's like watching a soap or a show or something. They show you all these spectacular images, but they don't really inform you properly.
Thanks for that, Jerry. Good point. And who's our next caller?
Sarah, from Leeds.
Thanks for calling, Sarah. What would you like to say?
Just following on from the last caller, I think the news on the radio is just as good as the news on TV. But to be honest, there's no comparison with the internet. I work at my computer all day and I can find out what's going on anywhere in the world as it's happening. The radio and TV, and especially newspapers, they're just, I don't know, they're just too slow.
Cheers, Sarah. Appreciate the call. One last caller before we listen to the new single from Kanye West. Hello? Who's calling?
Hello there, Scott. I'm Dan, calling from London. I agree with the last speaker because, the internet has changed everything. But I just think that although newspapers aren't as up to the minute as the net, they're much more informative. They tell you the full story about what's going on. What could be better than reading the paper when you're having your tea and toast in the morning or at the weekend? I'm tired of looking at the computer all day. I spend enough time in front of a computer at work, thank you very much.
Dan, thanks very much for that. Definitely agree with you about the tea and toast. Anyway, we'll be taking more of your calls in a moment after this song by Kanye.
Unit 5. Developing Speaking. Exercise 2.
Shall we go out tonight?
No, I'm a bit tired. Why don't we stay in and watch TV?
OK. Do you know what's on?
Let's have a look at the TV guide. At 7 o'clock, there's a soap.
I don't really like soaps.
OK then. What about this? On the other channel, there's a documentary about Shakespeare.
That sounds a bit too serious for me. Isn't there anything a bit more relaxing?
Well, on BBC Two at 8, there's a documentary about crime in Britain.
That's not very relaxing.
Well, all right then. There's a reality show on ITV. It's a dance competition for normal members of the public. I find reality shows can be a bit boring.
I know what you mean, but I think it's better than the other programmes.
OK, you're probably right. Let's watch the reality show then.
Fine. Oh, and by the way, it's your turn to make the tea.